Your voice, your opinion, your community. Fact TV, free speech protected.
Welcome to Recovery Fitness. I'm Big Larry. It's a new year, it's a new you. I'm a recovery coach. I help people overcome addictions. I'm also a personal trainer. I help people get in great shape. So today, we're gonna talk about just how do you overcome addiction and how do you get in great shape. So some people are overweight, some people are underweight. Here at Recovery Fitness, we can help you reach your goals. Some people drink too much alcohol. They want to stop completely and practice abstinence. Other people want to moderate. I can help you with both, either one. Some people drink too much alcohol, like I said, or smoke too much weed, and I can help you stop or moderate that as well. There's nicotine. Some people like to smoke cigarettes, cigars, chewing tobacco. Here at Recovery Fitness, we can help you stop or moderate those aspects of your life. It all starts with the 7 steps of Recovery Fitness. So the first step is awareness and then acceptance. Because a lot of the times dealing with addiction, it's like the disease of addiction can almost talk to us, or there can be a level of denial where it's like, oh, I'm not addicted to sugar or white flour or too much carbs. I can handle it. And next thing you know, you're binging or overeating or undereating and then overeating again. So like I said, whether it's alcohol, pot, marijuana, too much screen time, sugar, nicotine, all those things, even codependency, being addicted to trying to fix another person. All these things Recovery Fitness can help you with. So the first step, like I said, in Recovery Fitness is awareness and then acceptance. So we have to be aware of what addictions we have and how they're preventing us from reaching our goals. Personally, I was up to about close to 300 pounds overweight, depressed on my couch, couldn't get off my couch. I was really big Larry then. And basically, I've been able to incorporate the 7 steps of Recovery Fitness into my life. And I'm training for a bodybuilding show, a competition in November. So I got about 10 months to what we call lean bulk, lean out and bulk up at the same time. So since I've started in December, I've lost about 18 pounds. My weights have gone up in my particular lifts at the gym, and it's all because I incorporate Recovery Fitness into my life. So again, the first step is awareness and then acceptance. So I have to be aware of what addictions I have, and then the second half is to accept them, right? So accepting is difficult as well. That's where we educate ourselves here at Recovery Fitness as to what addictions you do have, and then we come out of denial, practice awareness, and then we practice that acceptance piece. And even saying to yourself, I accept and I'm aware of my addictions on a daily basis. Using a mantra to counter effect the denial that we can be in. Make sense? All right. So the second step of Recovery Fitness is surrender and recovery. So with surrender, imagine a football field. If you could paint in that football field the word surrender, right? And it would take up 100 yards of a football field. It's a big principle, it's a big concept in dealing with addictions. So the two aspects of surrender is this, you can say to yourself, well, I'm just gonna act out, and I'm gonna act out on my addictions, or you try to fight it with white-knuckled willpower, okay? And if you identify as an addict or a heavy drinker or someone who uses a lot of marijuana or smokes cigarettes or has trouble with screen time, all these addictions, there's a middle ground, and it's called surrender, right? So surrender is not just acting out on those addictions or using white-knuckled willpower. So the principle is to surrender your addictions to yourself, and also maybe to a higher power, God if you like, or nature, or whatever. The second part of the second step is recovery, okay? So when you enter into recovery, you're taking those addictions and you're minimizing them, you're moderating or stopping completely. So recovery, it's kind of like recover, discover, and then uncover, you know? Coming out of denial, living in that reality that, you know, our culture is geared to addictive behavior, okay? All right. So the third aspect of recovery fitness is what we call inventory. It's kind of like journaling, right? So a couple of techniques that I personally use with clients and myself is free writing, where you take 5 minutes, you set a timer, and you free write. You just write, whatever your thoughts are, whatever your fears are, whatever your addictions are. And you come into that awareness and acceptance, surrender and recovery aspect of the recovery fitness program, and you inventory all that stuff out. You come out of denial. You say, yes, I do have addictions. I want to get better, right? You write all that stuff out for free writing for 5 minutes. You don't let the pen stop. Write. Keep writing, okay? And then from there, you take the top 5 things you need to get done for the day, and the top 5 maybe resentments, what we call are anger towards people, places, or institutions that you have resentments towards that might be fueling those addictions, okay? You also write out your fears, and there's an inventory process to overcome fear. So with recovery fitness, we inventory, we write down, you know, what our addictions are, we accept them, we surrender them, and then we recover from those addictions. And like I said, we write out our resentments, our fears, those you might have anger towards, and those maybe traumatic things in your life that maybe you are 300 plus pounds and you can't get over it. Or maybe you've been trying to control your drinking for years and you feel powerless to stop. Or maybe with the alcohol or the nicotine or the screen time. So here at Recovery Fitness, we help with that. The fourth step in Recovery Fitness is to change, okay? And when you change a behavior, it can be difficult. Psychologists say we do like 95% of what we did yesterday, right? So we're creatures of habit. So we're allotted about 6% of change on a daily basis. So when we can change a behavior or change an addiction or minimize or practice abstinence or moderate, that's a win-win, okay? So being accountable to your recovery coach, reaching out saying, hey, I want to get a six-pack, but I'm going to surrender it. And, I pride myself on fast response times. I'm here to help out. I've been through addictions myself. I've been addicted to alcohol, weed, nicotine, screen time, all the addictions that people can have. I've overcome them, okay, one day at a time. So when we change, that's a good thing, and you also want to broaden your support group. Sometimes they say if you have addictions, it takes a village to overcome that, so therapists, self-help groups, church groups, recovery coaches like myself, friends, family, people who are non-critical who can help you overcome those addictions. The fifth aspect of recovery fitness is to make amends, okay? Sometimes we can be stuck in those addictions and codependency because we might have harmed someone unintentionally, or maybe someone pissed us off and we wanted to get back at them, whatever. We all have people we want to apologize to and ask forgiveness for the shortcomings that we all have. You know, nobody's perfect. And here at Recovery Fitness, I teach people how to make amends. Also in my book, Recovery Fitness, we go into how to make those amends, right? So the sixth step of Recovery Fitness is exercise, right? We've been doing that the past couple episodes with the meditative breathing and stretching, the prehabilitation, the Pilates, strength training, cardio, regeneration, and we've talked about nutrition. So exercise is so key to get those endorphins, get the dopamine, serotonin releases from exercise so we don't look for it in those addictions. You know, having a puff of a cigarette kind of gives an immediate relief and an immediate high. Exercise, as is well documented, gives you long-lasting benefits to your health. So as a former addict myself, I used to seek, you know, the high. Now I'm still a dopamine, serotonin chaser, so to speak, and I chase that through exercise, right? And then the seventh step of Recovery Fitness is help others, right? So helping others gets us out of ourself, right? If I'm just sitting around, moping around, acting out with addictions, you know, I'm not helping out other people. You know, sometimes the disease of addiction can be a self-centered type of a thing. So to overcome that, you want to help others. You know, volunteer at a soup kitchen. You know, go to a jail and visit the imprisoned. Visit a nursing home. Offer your gifts and talents to the community at large. So helping others is a great aspect of Recovery Fitness, and I encourage that with my clients, right? All right, so some of us are stuck in traumatic events from the past. So I wrote up a recovery concept talk, okay? So I'm just gonna read some of this and talk about it, right? So, the recovery concept talk. The biggest reason why many addicts and codependents can't break through their destructive patterns is that they don't understand the emotion of shame and its ramifications. So shame is the granddaddy of all emotions, okay? Toxic shame says, I am a mistake. Healthy shame says, I will make mistakes, and I'm a human being, right? So when you understand the emotion of shame, it gives you a foothold to overcome those addictions, right? All right. Plus, we don't learn how from our dysfunctional families how to get their basic needs met. Some severe addicts and codependents are suffering from some form of trauma, which they are stuck in stages of grief. When you understand that as humans we operate from 3 ego states that you can learn to manage over time by finding and embracing a family of recovery, that you can learn to open up, learn how to talk, trust, and feel. Because sometimes in our families of origin that we grew up in, there's an unwritten, unhealthy rule that says, don't talk, don't trust, and don't feel, okay? So when you embrace your family of recovery, you learn how to talk, you find your voice, you learn how to trust, and you learn how to feel. So some people say that the eating addiction is the toughest one to break. I feel that might be the case, or cigarettes might be tougher. However, when you can learn how to talk with someone you can trust, you learn how to feel your emotions instead of stuffing them with addictions or focusing on other people, you can move on, right? So, that eating addiction or the nicotine addiction, some people say that's the toughest one to break. So here at Recovery Fitness, you're accountable to your coach, and you're accountable to yourself. And also I encourage people to broaden their network, like I talked about before. Therapists, self-help groups, church groups, people you can talk, trust, and feel, because sometimes, we can have a critical parent voice or friends that are very critical of us, and they can, derail our recovery, right? So, another problem is that we can get stuck in unhealthy roles and unhealthy rules and not live up to our potential. Also, when we can't forgive, that is a severe block to recovery. The diseases of addiction and codependency are complicated, and problems can pile up, but understanding some key concepts and learning how to implement them in your life allows you to be free and live a life of hope, freedom, and recovery. So here's some recovery concept definitions that I've mapped out in my own life and through my study of addictions and how to overcome them, right? So the first most important thing is get your 5 basic needs met. So the most basic need we have is a need for attention, okay? If we don't feel attention, then we can't feel loved, okay? So love is the second core need, then security, then a sense of belonging, and lastly, a sense of what we call personal power, able to make choices and decisions for yourself. So when you're caught up in an addiction, it's almost like your free will and your choices get impeded, and you can't make decisions for yourself to overcome your addiction, right? All right. So the second recovery concept is, like we talked about before a little bit, is to overcome denial. Denial of any addiction and codependency and accept that you have them. The tricky thing with addictions and codependency is that they're self-diagnosed most of the time. Only you can really determine if you are an addict or a codependent. So it begins by really identifying with someone else, okay? And then you can learn how to manage from there. So you have to figure out where you are in the spectrum. What are addictions, and what is codependency? Like I talked about, addictions can be to alcohol, drugs, screen time, sugar, food, money, debt, nicotine, caffeine. What is codependency? Codependency is basically a processes addiction, where those other addictions I talked about are substance addictions. So a process addiction is your thinking and your behaviors, okay? So codependency is basically a process addiction to people and having unhealthy relationships and not getting your basic needs met, which typically get blocked from childhood, which causes codependency. All right, next up, identify your traumas. We can have big traumas in life or little traumas in life. Abuse could be a form of trauma, or living with someone else's rage or anger, or little trauma where someone might be blocking you from your emotional connections with others, or a controlling person over time. All these things can create trauma. So then you have to find out where you are on the 5 stages of grief from trauma, okay? The first stage is shock, numbness, and denial when we experience trauma. The second stage is an anger response. Then there's bargaining, if this would happen, then that would happen. We can get stuck in grief from trauma where we can bargain back and forth and just be stuck in our mind and not be able to heal, okay? And then the fourth one is depression and sadness. And the fifth is finally acceptance of the trauma, okay? So I've worked through traumatic things in my life, I've practiced the 5 stages of grief through journaling, through therapy, through self-help groups, through church groups and whatnot, and overcome trauma, and I'm ready to help others on their stage as well. All right. So next up is you want to understand your 3 ego states, that you operate from a wounded child ego state, a healthy adult ego state, and then a critical voice from your family of origin. So the goal of recovery is to learn to heal the wounded child ego state by nurturing the healthy adult ego state and minimize the critical parent voice, okay? So that might sound like a little bit of mumbo jumbo to you, but basically, you know, in our ego, there's really 3 things going on at once. Like I said, a critical parent voice that can trip us up, a wounded child ego voice that can trip us up. But the goal is, as an adult, you want to nurture that healthy adult ego voice and learn how to get your needs met, right? And then be able to help others. So next up, you want to find a family of recovery to learn to get your basic needs met and meet the needs of others. Learn how to talk, learn how to trust, learn how to feel. Because like I said, I've been there on the couch, depressed, approaching 300 pounds, and you know, it's just not a fun place to be. You know, channel surfing and bored out of my mind, right? So, you want to understand your family of origin, unhealthy patterns and roles. So roles are what you can get stuck into your whole life sometimes. For example, like a hero role, a super achiever role, the silent child, the lost child role, the black sheep of the family, always getting into trouble. So you want to break out of those roles by setting appropriate boundaries in your life and achieving a balanced life, okay? All right. So you overcome your family of origin unhealthy rules, like don't trust and don't feel, by learning how to trust, talk, and feel. All right. Next up, you want to be aware of grandiosity patterns and emotional highs and lows. Okay. So those emotional highs and lows can come from the trauma that we experience in life and the woundedness that we experience. So you want to get that healthy attention, healthy love, that sense of belonging that's so important to nurture ourselves, okay? So next up is forgiveness. With all this being said, I think forgiveness is the most important part of recovery to overcome addictions, all right? So an important part of recovery from addictions and codependency is when you can forgive yourself for your own destructive behaviors and forgive others, then you can have a profound and immediate positive impact on your recovery. So I've had some key people in my life lead me through forgiveness, okay? And I'm ready to help you forgive those who have hurt you. And you also want to forgive yourself for harming yourself, okay? So when dealing with forgiveness, sometimes it can be an immediate impact on your life, right? It can be profound, it can be quick, it can be powerful. All right, so to recap, the goal of recovery is to understand shame, toxic or healthy. Toxic shame says, I am a mistake. Healthy shame says, I will make mistakes, and I'm a human being, right? How you can control your life if you don't handle it. Get your 5 basic needs met on a daily basis. Be there for others to help them with their needs. Figure out where you are on the 5 stages of grief from trauma. And you want to change to overcome denial. Like a master detective, identify your traumas and talk about them to someone you can trust. Overcome the binding strongholds that they are. Okay? Understand your 3 ego states and how to manage them. Have your adult take care of the wounded child and minimize the critical parent voice. Find a family of recovery so that you can trust, talk, and feel your emotions. Break through your unhealthy roles and rules and find someone where you can practice forgiveness. Understand that relationships are fluid and dynamic, and that in very healthy relationships, which takes time, the 2 people have a give and take. In healthy relationships, you know, it's about 50% of the time talking and listening to each other. But again, there's an ebb and a flow to healthy relationships. So if you're stuck in toxic relationships, that's tough. We're here at Recovery Fitness to help you take care of yourself, practice the 7 steps of Recovery Fitness, exercise, and get your needs met. Sometimes, we can get better and heal ourselves, and then that toxic person can change because we're setting appropriate boundaries to take care of ourselves. Makes sense? So if you're dealing with your own addictions and someone else's, that's very tricky, right? So again, you can only change yourself. So what you want to do is get your needs met, change yourself, set boundaries, and then, another person who you might be involved with would change themselves, right? Makes sense? All right. So in the recovery process, you can free yourself with the help of others. Then you can lead a life of service for others when you heal, right? So you want to heal, feel, and deal. That's what we do with Recovery Fitness. We heal, feel, and deal. That was a lot, but I just wanted to talk about today, how to overcome those addictions. What are addictions? What is codependency? And how to live a life of service for others, how to get your needs met at the same time. Make sense? So again, welcome to Recovery Fitness if you're new. Website's coming out soon, and we're excited about the book that's going to be released soon, and excited about coaching people, and we're thrilled that it's a new year, it's a new you. Watch my journey to enter into my bodybuilding competition in November. It's going to be in Rhode Island. Really excited about that, and we're going to get in great shape so I can be that walking billboard for you and show you how to overcome your addictions, how to get in great shape. I'm Big Larry. Everyone take it easy. Peace.